Can you see the sun is shining on me? It makes me feel so free.
We're gonna get started in a couple minutes, everybody. Hello. Happy Thanksgiving.
Reach out for the sunshine.
Without you, there's nothing for me to do. Can you feel the sunshine too? It's coming through. It makes me feel brand new. When you're here, I wish you were always near. 'Cause everything's so clear. And today, it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up the day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times, and they will come back.
Mike just yelled orgasm. You guys missed it. We're gonna get started here real soon. He's taking out the dog. All right.
All right.
All right, all right, all right. Elements, this is from Sonic R. Sonic R. Soundtrack to the video game Sonic R from Grammy-nominated artist Richard Jacques, who just did the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy last year. Okay, everybody, we are getting in place. Mike's sitting down. I'm gonna get this scrolled up. Let me put in some stuff here.
Fantasy 14. I lied. I'm not playing.
Wow, you lied to Final Fantasy 14 after everything Final Fantasy 14 did for you. That is fucked up.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Living in the city.
Dream on.
Do 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 do.
Living in the city. All right, everybody. I think we're about ready to go. Let me tweet one more time. Living in the city.
Oh, I need to get the producers thing.
You guys hear that? That music?
No.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't. Why wouldn't you hear that? You wouldn't hear that, but why wouldn't you?
I don't know what's wrong with that.
I don't know.
Hear it then?
Ooh, that was loud.
Cool. Love to hear it. It's probably gonna be pretty loud for you guys. Just have to deal with it.
Fine.
Living in the city.
Gotta keep that
Living in
dream
the city.
alive.
All right.
Rushmore.
Let's say goodbye to living in the city as we fade up.
Oh, but I don't wanna say goodbye.
Me neither. There's that. Toadpak Shakur wants to fuck to this song, and that's just completely fair.
You would I would never say anything like that.
This does have a cool T-bar. I
I
guess I
understand.
can always do it like this, huh? That's fun. Look at that. Whoa.
Wow. It's pulsing.
I could probably get a real USB
Hit that like button, chat. We need it.
Okay, all right. We are
Yes,
I want to
extra
commit.
like buttons that help people find the early show, everybody. Extra like.
Yeah, let's get everyone who's watching, hit that like button, please. It would really help since we are at a different time of day. People are gonna be like, "Whoa, this is happening," and the only way they're gonna know that is if it goes in their algorithm, which only happens if you like it. All right.
If you don't like the video, Chef's gonna get evicted.
That's right. I mean, listen, strong possibility. Will Fox says, so who's busting out Yuji Naka? Just the opposite. I will be making sure that he stays in prison.
Yeah,
I will be
I'm gonna
patrolling
sign it. Yes, I'm signing up for being a jailer.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Good job.
maybe walk him the Green Mile, whatever.
Get ready, Jordan. Here, I'll
What?
text you my address. I thought he says if you talk shit about Jim Ryan, I'll show up at your house, Grub. Well, then you have to come here. All right, let's do this. Let's do it. Mike, you ready?
Mikey, ready?
All right, I'm gonna count us in, and I'm gonna hit this button, and then I'm gonna hit that button.
Do what you want.
5, 4, 3.
Shut up.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Less Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is...
Mike Minotti.
Mike's here too, everybody. Happy holidays. Thanksgiving's tomorrow. I'm excited. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm not as excited as you, but I'm feeling good. You know, I have like my vacation right after Thanksgiving, which is fun. But like right before, vacation, you're always like, gotta do things, gotta make sure everything's okay. So I'm kind of in a bit of that mood right now.
Wait, when are what day are you leaving? Unless you don't want to give up that information. I'm not sure how you.
I don't know if I need to get that granular.
Yeah,
about
no, you don't
it,
get granular. But
pretty
basically,
soon
my
after
question is,
Thanksgiving.
right? So, are you going to be able to enjoy Thanksgiving? Is really my question.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be able to enjoy Thanksgiving just fine.
Okay, well, that's good because I'd be like, oh, I gotta get stuff done before Thanksgiving, and if I don't, then
that would be, yeah. And also, I don't have much to do for Thanksgiving. I am, the single
right. You can just show up
lifestyle.
places.
I just show up and eat. I'm gonna bring like a side so I don't look like a total slob.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna spend a lot of time on the couch with the TV on while people are in the kitchen, and you're gonna feel bad. I mean, that's just how it goes.
I feel way less bad about it than everyone else, though. That's for sure.
That's cool. True.
I don't know if I feel less bad about
feelings.
it, but I get less grief. I get less grief about it.
Yeah, but are they just like, no, you could just sit there, Mike. We don't want you in the kitchen.
Well, no, they'll yell at me too, but like they can't do anything about it. Like my brother's wives will have means of making them get up and help. What are they going to threaten me with, right?
That's fair. That's a really good point. Today's episode, Jim Ryan wants to know who is raising prices. PlayStation bans shovelware, and we're picking the Mount Rushmore of direct game sequels. That means the number 2s, everybody. So the best number 2s out there. But first, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. If you want to ask a question, you could drop a super chat during the show here on YouTube. We'll get to all of those before the end. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, and wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating. It helps people find the show. And thank you to our mods for keeping a cool community, and support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. Really, I know it's getting kind of weird out there with the economy and everything, but if you can help, we really appreciate it. And if you can't, just show up, watch the show. Right. That's just fine, too.
We all know that nobody needs your money more than Jeff and I.
Yes, still, right, exactly. And I want to make that clear. Like, we are the neediest of all. But
yes.
But if for some reason you come up short, well, we'll find a way. I'll just say Mike is, he's got Italian family members, so watch out. Watch out for those kneecaps. He's already threatened me once. He's going to threaten all of you.
Right.
But no, thank you everybody for the support you can give, and if you can't, again, we understand. But if you do join, that gets you access to the private channels inside the Discord. Also gets you access to the monthly Q&A and 1 month early access to the live Jeopardy game, so you can watch that live as we do it. You can also participate in our monthly game club discussions. Shout out to everybody who does participate in that stuff, because it really does add value to joining the Discord and having a good time there. I really appreciate it.
Game club's been fun. That's been rolling. We're going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy next month's games are all Mikey's picks, because December is Mikey month. That's my birthday, so I'm going to have some very Mike-centric choices for people.
I guess we should say the game club discussions do have their own podcast feed now. So you can subscribe to that. It's a Game Mess or a Game Mess Game Club or something. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. The videos are also uploaded on the YouTube channel. But
right, the videos are uploaded on YouTube. But if you just want to listen to the audio version of the shows, but we have a podcast for that now. It's basically
just audio, unless you want to look at my face the whole time.
Right, and so just audio, because who wants to do that?
No.
All right, Mike, I got some big topics from this past week I want to discuss with you. Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you ready?
A musical number. There you go. Big go home number. All right. PlayStation is banning shovelware and easy platinum games on the PlayStation Store. I've talked about this a couple times, so I'll just give my quick version on this. Is PlayStation should probably just make its store better through other means rather than stopping people from putting games on the store. I know most people are happy that these things are gone.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I've never been much of a gamer score guy. I was amused back when my younger brother Chris was, and he would do the things like go and rent games, like that Avatar game where you could get like 1,000 gamer score in 5 minutes and things like that. But it's never been my problem.
I broke everything. Hang on. I broke everything. Let me bring it back up.
Wow, I'm shocked. You would never do that.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm not going to cry about there being less shovelware or what have you on the PlayStation Store. But I also wouldn't have cared if it was there, to be honest.
It just has never really bothered me. I think my big strategy, I think that other people may have not heard of, is don't buy them.
Yeah, how about that?
I get that people will be like, but it gets in the way when I'm searching for stuff on the store. And, these stores are poorly designed. We're going back to that. And it's like, whose fault is that? And so a lot of these things do clog up those arteries that might get you the new content. I just also am surprised so many people think that's a good way to discover new games these days. There are, you have your own Discord. You have Discords, you have communities, you have Twitter, you have podcasts, you have websites, you have YouTubers. All these people who are out here playing games and telling you about them. Aren't you just like searching for the name of a game at a certain point? I mean, unless you're a game developer,
yeah,
who feels like they're buried. I just don't. I also don't really
The
get
only
that too
time
much.
I'm ever concerned about discoverability myself is if I'm looking at sales, like a sales page, right?
Mhm.
Like, I'm doing that with Steam right now with the autumn sale. But otherwise, I don't know. It's like this weird problem that I also sometimes wonder. I guess discoverability is this giant problem, but I actually don't really know that many people who are just like, what could I possibly play? I'll find out by just randomly looking around the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some people do that. I think some people just don't like the idea of what they consider crap to be right next to the games they consider to be art,
Sure.
and that kind of like rubs them the wrong way for the most part.
Yeah, how dare they put this shovelware next to Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD?
No, that's actually what I was talking about. Actually, that's the shovelware. That's the crap. All right. I'm still PlayStation needs to make some updates to its user interface, to its store. I would prefer they do that. I hope this is not an excuse to keep putting that stuff off. But this is still something mostly separate from that. They could do this and they can improve the store. Hopefully, I guess they end up doing both. Xbox offered PlayStation a 10-year deal for Call of Duty. Sony has declined to comment. Microsoft is trying to purchase Activision Blizzard for $69 billion, as everyone is well aware at this point. Sony is a huge opponent of the deal, traveling to regulators to speak out against the proposals, often using Call of Duty as a bargaining chip. Microsoft has said that it offered Sony a 10-year deal for Call of Duty, up from the previous 3-year deal. Sony has so far declined to comment on whether or not that's good enough, but you would assume if it was good enough, they would be like, oh, yeah, let's do that.
Well, it's like, what is it really about Call of Duty, Jeff, or is it just really about not wanting the deal to go through? Do they want to compromise?
I don't think there's any number large enough. I think it's either the deal doesn't go through, or at the very least, you say some variation of forever, or you have to spin off Call of Duty into its own thing that can be independent, that Sony could still have full access to.
I mean, how much larger can the number be reasonably? You can't. I mean, the world's too predictable. Like, you can have Call of Duty for the next 20 years, right? Now we're getting wacky talk here.
Yes.
So I don't know how much better that deal is going to get.
Yeah, I feel that we are just kind of, everything's getting pretty naked, and there's some other evidence to that of like Sony really just wants to derail the deal, period. There was never going to be a number that was large enough for them. I suppose maybe they've never really suggested such a thing. They've made it pretty clear from the beginning, I guess, that they just hate all of this and they want it to stop, and they're looking for any way to make it stop. They have gone back to the CMA with a 22-page proposal, or a 22-page basically briefing on how they feel about it. And one of the big elements of it is that they believe that if this deal goes through, it will hurt developers and lead to price increases. Here's a quote from Sony. Microsoft would control irreplaceable content that drives user engagement, it wrote. Post-transaction, Microsoft would control Activision content that drives this is redacted times as much user engagement on PlayStation than all of Sony Interactive Entertainment's best-performing first-party titles put together. The platform holder claims that if Microsoft were to gain sole control of Activision content, independent developers would all be harmed, and Microsoft could increase prices for games, hardware, and subscriptions.
Good.
Now, let's just do a quick tally. Just a quick tally. Has Microsoft raised prices on its games? Yes or no? Like as far as we could tell, like for the most part, most games cost the same as they did last generation, right?
Yes,
and Sony has increased prices. Has anyone raised the price of their new generation of consoles since the beginning of this generation? Microsoft, no. Sony, yes. Has anyone raised the price of their subscriptions? Like their subscription pricing? Sony, yes.
Yeah.
Microsoft, no. Come on. What is happening?
The person, like, how do they even write that? Because, I mean, isn't that going to be damaging now for them to make a very stupid, contradictory argument? Like, does it matter?
You would hope it would matter. Like, I kind of hope that matters. That it's something
this
that's
is
so
what sinks them.
Yes,
like,
this is so transparent to like. Wait, the status quo, all that stuff's happening, and you're doing it, and you're saying, and now you're saying that if Microsoft gets this thing, it's going to be able to do the thing you've been doing, and you don't want that. I mean, even if that logic follows, it doesn't really prove any point other than you have the market dominance right now, and you don't want someone else to have it. It's so bizarre.
I mean, I get that's like the textbook like argument against monopolies. I get it, but like in this situation, it is pretty brazen after the historic console price increases that Sony has done. The game ones, I think we all think those are coming eventually anyways. We know that a lot of people are worried about the economy and all this stuff. We've heard Sony's reasons for raising the prices. Whether we agree with that or not, it's just incredible to then come back and be like, what if Microsoft raised prices?
It's wild. Yep.
That's just wacky dory.
I think that I would expect this to fall mostly on deaf ears, but maybe we're wrong, and maybe they're like, oh wow, that is a big threat. Someone could raise prices. I don't know how much these regulators are looking into the reality on the ground right now. They are supposed to try to predict what could happen and if it's going to be bad. And it's like, well, they could raise prices, but that could be bad. I don't know if there's any reason for them to go, well, obviously someone else, the company complaining about this right now just did all of those things. I would expect maybe that is a possibility because these regulators, how much can they really understand? Okay, if they are like fully plugged into the gaming scene, they would understand. I just don't know if I expect that to be the case. I think there's a strong chance that they are bureaucrats who are just doing their job day to day, and they get the facts that are handed to them by their researchers and by these companies that are lobbying for the decision to go one way or the other. And these lawyers are paid a lot of money for a reason, and they believe that this might work. Now, of course, the lawyers have to tell Sony, oh, this is going to work or this could work, so we can keep having a job. But I don't know. There is more stuff from that 22-page claim. Sony also claims Microsoft's true strategy, and that's in quotes, is to make PlayStation like Nintendo. The franchise is, and this is, again, referring to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is, I think they try to explain it, but basically they're like, Microsoft said that Nintendo can compete, and really that betrays their hand about what they're really trying to do. Here it is. Call of Duty is firmly entrenched in gamers' psyche. Every installment since Call of Duty was first released back in 2003 has consistently topped the charts. It states, and that's what Sony says, and going on to share redacted percentage figures of the share of its audience it believes it would lose to Xbox should Call of Duty go exclusive. Ignoring these facts, Microsoft argues that Nintendo has been successful without access to Call of Duty, Sony continued. This misses the point, is what Sony says. The decision identifies a wide body of evidence showing that Nintendo offers a differentiated experience to Xbox and PlayStation because it is focused on family-friendly games that are very different from PEGI 18 first-person shooter games like Call of Duty. This is supported by Microsoft's internal documents, which, so the CMA found, show that, in general, Microsoft's internal documents track PlayStation more closely than Nintendo, with Nintendo often being absent from any internal competitive assessment. And that's like somewhat convincing there at the end, where Microsoft doesn't even think about how it's competing with Nintendo. But I think it's like, okay, yeah, in some of these spaces, they probably aren't. Like the Call of Duty space, obviously, if you're looking at like what effect Call of Duty could have, and you're doing an internal assessment, well, there are no Call of Duty games on Nintendo, and that's probably why they leave them off. That's not evidence, though, that Sony can't survive where Nintendo can. No, Sony would just have to do more things to compete if, in the very impossible scenario at this point, that Call of Duty does go exclusive to Microsoft, to Xbox platforms going forward. It's just another weird one because they had to narrow it down so much to just PEGI 18 first-person shooters. They own Bungie. I
guess they're right. I guess that's something that they don't have much of on Nintendo.
Yeah. And it's like, but Sony would definitely still be able to have that. They own Resistance. They own Killzone. They own Bungie, who could easily make a PEGI 18 shooter for them if they wanted to. Also, PEGI 18 shooter, I do not see the distinction between that and a PEGI 16 shooter all that much.
PEGI 18 Junior, that's my favorite genre. Jeff.
Yeah. It's not. No one is thinking about games in those terms, really. No. It is just another weird argument. It really does feel like them flailing here at the end, trying to make a Hail Mary work.
And if they had to compete by instead trying to track more of a family audience, anyways, why would that be a problem?
Right.
It's a problem for them, I guess. I don't see how it's a legally worrying problem for a governing body.
Right, exactly. Nothing that they've listed here feels like it rises to the occasion of calling in the government to protect this industry. It doesn't feel. And again, Microsoft's offered a 10-year deal. It's clear that Sony just continues not wanting to say the real issue it has here is if Microsoft has Call of Duty, Sony then has to deal with Microsoft instead of Activision, and that they don't want to do that.
We get it. It sucks. They would rather this deal didn't happen. Of course, it puts them in a slightly uncomfortable spot but it is just like incredible to try to find ways for them to explain how it's illegal.
Right. Yes. And deserving of regulatory scrutiny. Scrutiny is one thing, but to actually have them step in, and Sony and throughout this document was like, we are confident that the CMA is going to put an end to this. It's okay. I mean,
I
maybe.
guess they have to say that.
Right.
Mean, it does make you wonder, like, man, are they actually?
Right.
Are they actually confident that they are going to stop this? Because, man, it's just whack. Again, it's gonna be an interesting landscape. I mean, it was already going to be interesting. We thought this deal did go through. If it doesn't go through, it's almost going to be more interesting in some ways.
Corey in chat says, Phil did say price increases are coming after the holidays. That's not what he said. He said there would be no price increases through this holiday is what they decided. And then he could not say there would never be price increases after that. But, of course, prices go up. That's not the point we're making here.
Sure. I'm sure that there will be $70 Xbox Series S games eventually.
Absolutely. The point here is that like Sony's warning that price increases could happen as like the big threat of this deal going through, while being the company that has consistently raised prices already so far without any changes to the industry having to be made. So it's like, I mean, what is causing that? Should that be regulated? Is that what you're suggesting, Sony? That's a weird argument to make as being the company raising prices. If we're so concerned about that, well, that's already happening. Someone should put out the fire that's already happened instead of the imaginary fire that hasn't gone through yet. It's just weird. Kid Icarus may be returning, almost certainly is. Sakurai signs off his video that he did, his most recent YouTube video on his own channel that he runs, saying it sure would be nice to play Kid Icarus Uprising on a home console. And then looking at the camera with a knowing smile, he said, I wonder if someone out there will ever port it. And then he said, Bandai Namco is going to port it. Okay, he actually didn't do that, but almost certainly they are. Mike, I'm pretty excited about this.
Me too, because people love this game, Jeff, and I just didn't really play it on the 3DS. I think I was just thrown off by the weird way you're supposed to control it. I was like, I don't know, and I always felt bad that I didn't play it. People love this thing, and it seems like something that should translate pretty easily to the Switch. Maybe I'm somebody who might think it's a little bit of a bummer to not have the 3D. I like that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
But I bet the easier controls and the improved graphics are definitely going to make up for that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's an ideal game to port to the Switch. You're right. I will miss the 3D, but I will actually play it on a Switch, and I didn't play it on the 3DS, so it's hypocritical for me to complain about the lack of 3D.
I wonder if that's interesting, because we've got all these Wii U ports done now, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Tap that one dry. Is this the next thing? Are we in the era of the 3DS ports?
Right, because
getting like Link Between Worlds on Switch someday.
There's probably games like that they should definitely take the time. Like Link Between Worlds is one where I would want it to have a single screen port, so Nintendo would feel comfortable about keeping it in rotation going forward, so it's easy to access.
Yeah.
Were there Xenoblade games on the 3DS? I think those were those ones ported.
They just also remade Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on 3DS.
Okay,
So they already have that. But you could do. People love Fire Emblem Awakening. You can enhance that a bit. You can give them feet. People will like that. All sorts of things here and there. Bravely Default 1. Super Mario 3D Land. We already did 3D World. That went pretty well. Why not?
Yeah. Daniel Bradley says, come on, he doesn't mention price before the holidays in that statement if a price increase isn't coming after them. It wasn't a statement. Someone asked him during a panel if he's going to raise prices. He basically was asked, are you ever going to raise prices? And you can't say no to that. Come on, guys. Yeah. It's just read the stories. It's we try to keep everything there factual, so it's easy to follow. All right. Kid Icarus, I will be right there when it comes out. That's one where I just don't want to miss it again. So I'm very happy. I'll be very happy if this comes through. Do you think this is the kind of thing that could show up at the Game Awards, Mike?
It's interesting, right? Because how comfortable would Sakurai be so blatantly teasing this if an announcement wasn't imminent, right?
Yeah, right. Where he obviously is probably overseeing some of it, maybe at least on a producer, if not executive producer level, where it's probably his day job, what he's doing, that's not taking up all his time while he takes a little bit of a break after Smash. He's probably well aware of where it's at, and I would assume, we probably would be hearing about it soon if he's out there teasing it like this.
We gotta start hearing about some more Nintendo games here, kind of soon. I'm not saying I don't know if there's going to be some kind of December Direct or anything like that. Who knows? I don't know if they're going to have a presence at the Game Awards. I hope so. But at some point here, we got to start hearing some things. If nothing, just a bigger build up to Zelda.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm hopeful that Nintendo does show up at the Game Awards. I know I'm kind of set myself up for disappointment, but whatever. It's just the Game Awards. If I get disappointed about the Game Awards, that's normal.
Yeah, whatever. Then we'll find memes to laugh at.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will get into our decisions that need to be made this week. Okay. Mike, do you need to take a break or anything? You good to go?
I'm good to go, actually.
Cool. We will get rolling here in a second. Let me just get all
Back into it.
Yeah, let me get all the Discord all set up and situated. Looking good. We will get to those super chats here real soon, probably after this first topic here. What's up?
Yeah. Oh, I put it on the podcast stuff. I was about to say the thread.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to look it up.
Okay, thank you.
But now it's too late.
Yeah, no worries.
23, 2022. Rushmore, yeah.
Yeah, Clappy Cheeks. I think Hades is a fantastic game. All right. Let's see here. Let's take a look.
Not me. I hate Hades. Hades is so freaking good. I was thinking about Hades. How much
I was too, actually. Yeah.
Because I was, like, man, I wonder what they're gonna do next.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised how there wasn't any major like expansion content kind of things, like how there was for Dead Cells. Dead Cells had a lot of that.
Right. I wonder, like, they did a long early access thing. That studio really likes making a lot of games, so.
Part of me would rather they just actually put that effort into a Hades 2, to be honest, but I don't know.
Okay, let's bring it back. All right, Mike, it's time for another Mount Rushmore. Let's do Mount Rushmore of direct video game sequels. So the number 2 in a series most of the time is what that means. We might have some wiggle room on that definition, but for the most part, we're talking about the number 2s, and I don't mean pieces of poo.
Yeah, that's funny. Rudy Poo,
number 2s. Mike, do you want to kick us off? I got, while you do that, actually, I can bring up the thing so people could follow along at home. Like,
yeah.
Do you have one that you think should go up there?
I mean, I think the most obvious one here, Jeff, is actually Street Fighter 2. I think that is the biggest leap from quality and importance from a 1 to a 2 that we have seen and ever will see. I mean, the first one is like a lot of these other one-on-one fighters from that era and everything before. They're kind of janky. They're not very good. And then Street Fighter 2 actually defined a genre. It's still fun to play today. One of the all-time great soundtracks, just this incredible cast of characters that still show up in pretty much all of the sequels. It's hard to not put Street Fighter 2 on there. This is the penance for not getting the Street Fighter the movie into the video game.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
There is zero realities where this game is not just number 1 on this list. Street Fighter 2 is the best sequel ever, almost certainly, at least in terms of jump quality, like you said. If this was like a list of games, a tier list of best and or biggest increase of quality, Street Fighter 2 is up there. But I think regardless, it's on Mount Rushmore of like number 2s, easily without a doubt. It defines so much. You're right. Everything you said, it's up there. People could see that now. All right, let's see. All right, no, I got that. Okay. Some people in the Discord mentioned some things about Street Fighter 2. Let me see here. MN Goldie, Minnesota Goldie said, a game that is so much better than the original. I question how many people have ever even tried that dumpster fire of a first game. Have you ever played Street Fighter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's like included in a lot of the compilations and stuff. And I'm always very play for like a second as a curiosity. It's like, oh, this exists, but then I'm like, it's enough of that. I'd rather play any other Street Fighter now.
Yeah, I played some computer version. I think it was like a one for my 386 that we had, and it was clearly, now I know, nothing like even the arcade port. So it's like a worse version of a really bad game. And it was real rough. And then I played Street Fighter at the arcade we went to, Galloping Ghosts. And they had the first one there. I'm like, oh yeah, this is much better, and still somehow just a train wrek compared to Street Fighter 2.
It has like the pressure buttons, right? Like you do a low, medium, or high punch depending on how hard you hit the button.
Yep.
Like that doesn't.
It's a bad idea. Yeah, right. Cute, but not. It was trying. That's something different than being a game where it's about actually competing against other people or anything like that, where you could figure out your punches. Instead, it's like, oh, it's a fun experience and how hard I'm hitting it. Like, you could see how you could do that as an arcade machine, but it's not what Street Fighter needed to be. Ezipsis, by far, Street Fighter 2 is the top of the best sequels ever made list. It's so good, it practically erased the first game from history.
Yeah, it did.
Every time someone mentions the original Street Fighter, they are talking about 2. That's a really good point.
That's true.
Arguably, the fighting game landscape, if not the entire gaming industry, would be unrecognizable if the game never released. Bonus votes for Half-Life 2, Mass Effect 2, and Bugs Bunny, and Crazy Castle 2, and we'll get to some of those. But yeah, I think even when I asked you, do you play Street Fighter? It's like, well, of course, I play Street Fighter all the time, because it's like we're thinking about the lineage of Street Fighter 2 at this point. It's like, no, I really mean Street Fighter 1. It's such a weird thing how that happened. But Street Fighter 2 is 1,000% going to be on this list. All right, I have some ideas about what else to put on here. Mass Effect 2 is probably a good one, I think. But I kind of want to float it up there for now. I think here's the Street Fighter 2 is obvious. I think the rest of this list is probably going to be a bloodbath.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think Street Fighter 2 is like the one gimme, to be honest.
Yes.
And then there's might be some harder decisions to make. Mass Effect 2 is interesting. I think most people like it better than 1 for a lot of good reasons.
Right.
It's a lot slicker than 1, that's for sure.
It's also a good like emblematic game of what a two-parter can be. You take all the characters from the first one, you build on a lot of their stories. Some do get lost in there. You bring in some new characters. It also builds on the mechanics, and then it has this big culmination of putting all of the characters you like in a really dire situation, and it feels Empire Strikes Back like, and that's really, really cool that they did that, and it's one of the few sequels that actually does follow that through. But yeah, it's not such a sure thing like Street Fighter 2, but I'm let's put it up there for now, and let's maybe compare it to some other things as we go along.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
While you think of another one, let me see if anyone else saying about Mass Effect 2. Real quick, Nick Turbo, with a good selection of new and old squad mates, the game really makes you love them by going on their loyalty missions and learning more about them. Also, play off to the build up the suicide mission, and your choices impacting which of your squad lives or dies makes Mass Effect 2 have one of the best final missions in gaming, right? And I think it's like a big payoff moment for everything you've done across these two games. So yeah, I generally agree with that.
So here's one. I'm seeing this one in chat a lot. I think some people have mentioned already. I think Half-Life 2 definitely needs consideration.
Yeah.
It's interesting because unlike Street Fighter, like Half-Life 1 is also this seminal, very important game. And yet Half-Life 2, also this seminal, important game. Like, it's not just a great sequel, even as a standalone thing that represents this major shift in the way that games are going to be, just in terms of presentation. I know it was one of the first times I remember really noticing things like facial capture, and then the physics engine and all of that really mattering so much. And just, one of the best games ever.
Yeah, it's also it's like one of those first ones that comes to mind when you think of a second game. It is such an important sequel that it like defined Valve's inability to follow it up in any real way, other than with some episodes that also only got to 2. So yeah, Half-Life 2 probably also is gonna have a real good chance of making it up there.
I could see myself arguing pretty strongly for Half-Life 2, but I do like that game a lot. I mean, that is one of those games when you were playing it, it's like a Mario 64, something like that. Even maybe Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, this is important, right? This isn't just good. This is representing a change. People are going to be looking to this for a while.
All right, here's why I think it's going to be a bloodbath, because I think there's going to be a lot more to go after I say this one. But then when I say this one, we're also looking at a list that could easily be the Mount Rushmore. Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Damn it, Jeff, you had to hit me like that. Yeah, that is a direct sequel, and it is significantly better than Super Smash Bros. 64.
And also,
every way.
It defined platform fighters. Like, it made it, like, people still play it to this day. It is, it's a big boy for a list like this. When you're talking about direct sequels, it kind of doesn't get much bigger than Melee, where it's it's like a reason that tens of millions of people play games and still play games. It's their game in that way. It also not important the way Half-Life 2 is important, but like culturally important Melee is.
I mean, the series went from being this kind of cute thing on 64 to Melee. I mean, I think was the best-selling game on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it went to. It's been that ever since then. Like, it's really Melee that made Smash Brothers a big deal because you just had this incredible, this much better, bigger roster, this faster, more satisfying gameplay, these better modes, all these fun collectibles. Gosh, it's still just a really good time.
Yeah, Tommy Tallarico did famously give Super Smash Brothers Melee a 2 out of 5 or 2.5 out of 10. He had a review show. Yeah, this is.
Why did he? What did he just not get it? You think he didn't know?
Yeah.
About there not being health bars? You think he was confused?
He was definitely confused. He's definitely always confused. Later, he would be asked about that. And he'd be like, "I never gave it a 2.5 out of 10. It was on television." It was on television when he did that.
Television. How can he lie?
You can go watch. How could Tommy Tallarico lie? Have you watched that video, Mike?
Stupid question.
Have you watched that video? The new H Bomber guy one. You gotta watch.
I gotta see it.
About the oof sound from Roblox.
It
It is. Ooh, that's good stuff. All right. Okay. So we have 4 right now: Street Fighter 2, Mass Effect 2, Half-Life 2, Super Smash Brothers Melee. You and I could keep recommending some in a second. Let's take a look at what the Discord has to say from our podcast producers. Let's see. I want to start up here. Bench JC, going with one that has it's so recent that I think it's gonna have a hard time because you kind of need some time to prove it. He says God of War Ragnarok. Sure, it may be recent, but I think it's the best game of all time. It has an engaging story, incredible visuals and art style, the best side content in any game, and amazing combat. I obviously think we can knock it out on a technicality of not just being like the direct sequel to God of War, but I also feel like it's a reboot or it's at least a requel. I would be willing to consider it, but even then, I don't think it's going to be able to play here yet.
There's a lot of these that are just very good sequels, and I wonder what are their chances. Like one, if it was just mine, I would put on would be a Mega Man 2. And there's more to it than that, but Mega Man 2 is basically just the poster child of somehow this looks like the same game as the last one, but infinitely better and more important in every way, right? Everybody pretty much thinks, Mega Man 2 obviously better than Mega Man 1.
Yeah.
And the reason why there's a million Mega Man games wasn't because of Mega Man 1, it was because of Mega Man 2. But still, it is like that ultimately. This is like that same thing. We just actually figured out this time. Yeah,
I'm trying to see if anyone else mentioned Mega Man? I thought I saw Mega Man on here.
I saw one Mega Man 2. I think it's that long one above Nick Turbo.
Okay, we'll get there then. Moonlight 150. First that comes to mind is Portal 2. Improves on the first game in almost every way with some amazing writing with one of the best antagonists in gaming. I kind of feel like we either get Half-Life 2 or Portal 2, Mike, and which one do you want to go with?
Yeah, right. And I mean, when you think about it in terms of that, I think what Half-Life 2 represents over Half-Life 1 is more impressive than Portal 2 over Portal 1. I agree. If it's just like best games, Portal 2 can go on there. And it is a very good sequel. Especially it is neat because like the first one was this kind of cute little like thing expanded from some college game, right? It was included with some other Valve games. And it was really neat to see it turn into its own thing. I almost still like Portal 1 and 2 equally in some ways. Like in some ways, Portal 1's shorter length works with it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Portal 2 works really well with its longer length.
That's kind of where I'm at, and I think Half-Life 2 probably stays on the list longer than Portal 2 does. You know what, though? I could put some of these up on the consideration block for later. Let's put Portal 2 here.
Yeah, put Portal 2 there. Put Mega Man 2 there.
Yeah, I will. Mega Man 2. All right, let's keep going through some of these for now, and we'll come back around to ours. F-Wit Ray Day. If we consider Metal Gear Solid as its own series, then Metal Gear Solid 2.
Interesting.
I think on both of those, I'm pretty iffy actually. Metal Gear Solid 2 on its own, even if we do consider it, and even considering it, I think it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2 is a very good game, and it is a cool sequel, but it's hard to be like one of the best sequels if I still actually prefer the original. And in that case, I do like Metal Gear Solid more.
That's what I mean. Yes, that's where I'm at. And it's I think I could hear an argument for Metal Gear Solid 2 because it's the sequel of its era, where the trailer came and everyone had to find a way to watch it, and it would play on a loop at E3, and people would just sit on the floor and watch it over and over and over. The build up to it was. It's like it was Kojima at his best. So I can like hear that argument. But even all that stuff considered, I think like, when you consider it like holistically, it's probably not getting up there for me. Lenny Cool Dick Denver, I doubt they would go on a Mount Rushmore, but Advance Wars 2 and Golden Sun Lost Age were some of my favorite sequels to games I played growing up. I like both of them. Both of them are probably not going to rate here.
I was thinking, like, is there like a JRPG or tactics game that really makes sense here? Because like those series usually go on for so long that it's like, oh, the best one is the sixth one, right? I can't think of too many where like, yeah, number 2 was the one where they really nailed that down. Like Final Fantasy 2, Dragon Quest 2, neither of those particularly beloved, actually.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
Also, Advance Wars might be a bit iffy because there was Famicom Wars for so long, and
oh baby, that's right.
Yeah,
Ooh, not a yeah.
So it's like Advance Wars 2. It was the direct sequel to me, I guess, but in general, it wasn't really. It's tough. It's tough.
Messed up there.
All right. Let's see. Screaming Mad, and here it is. For a retro rep for the direct sequel Mount Rushmore, Mega Man 2 comes to mind. It has even more stages and bosses than the original, has an all-time great OST, and throws in new features such as energy tanks to make the experience better. It's practically what many consider to be an ideal sequel. Oh, and Metal Man's saw blades can't be topped.
Can't even be topped by Top Man in Mega Man 3. Look, Jeff, you know me and Mega Man, I'm almost, it's hard for me to say. Of course, I want Mega Man 2 on there. I would, if I was to kick one off for Mega Man 2, I guess it would be Mass Effect 2. So what do you think about Mass Effect 2 or Mega Man 2? I guess is my question to you.
I mean, I like the idea of having an earlier game up on the list, but beyond that, it's real tough for me to drop Mass Effect 2 for Mega Man 2. It's tough. I don't know. I think I'm not like ready to cut Mega Man 2 off completely.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have to necessarily follow this, but would you do a poll right now for the live chat of Mass Effect 2 and Mega Man 2? Because I'm actually just curious.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I think it's, well, I guess let's find out. Maybe I don't have a prediction on how that's going to go.
I don't know if I do.
Yeah, start a poll. Actually, Mega Man 2 versus Mass Effect. And again, we're not bound to this because not everyone's a podcast producer, but we will definitely we'll definitely take all your stuff into consideration. Curious, I almost did yes, no. All right, Mega Man.
Yeah, of course you would. Use every time.
Mass Effect.
I love it. You're beautiful, Jeff.
Thank you. I try to be. All right, there we go. Everyone gets a chance to vote. In the meantime, though, do you have any other names you want to throw up there? I'm seeing a lot of Halo 2s.
Yeah, I don't know. I know people like Halo 2 more than Halo 1. I still almost find like the uniqueness of Halo 1 for some reason that the first one matters more to me, and that one still feels like the more iconic one. I know it doesn't have like the Xbox Live multiplayer originally and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think I still would prefer the first one there. It was a very big deal sequel like that. If you ask me what games felt like they were definitely the biggest games ever when they came out, Halo 2 would be one of them for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then in assessing the totality of that series, I think Halo Combat Evolved still stands so much taller than everything else, or at least right in line with everything else in terms of importance. And it's just nothing like the rest of these games where they had something and then they really got something with Half-Life 2 or Super Smash Bros. Melee or Mass Effect 2. All that feels like there's a bigger gap there.
Let's talk about a game that me and you both love that have a 2 in it.
Sure.
I wonder if we could possibly justify this. Streets of Rage 2.
Oh boy, that's a real good. Oh man,
it's a really good game.
It's a really good game. It is better than the original in every way. It's also like eminently replayable. It holds up to like today. Like you can go back to it now.
But does it have? It's hard to say it has the importance of like the ones that we have on that list already. It's hard to say that.
I mean, it's a little bit like hamstrung because there's a lot more on the line for a Mass Effect 2 or a Half-Life 2. These are bigger games with bigger budgets, and gaming was becoming bigger. And like Streets of Rage 1 came out, it's like, all right, if I never heard about Streets of Rage again, okay. That's fine. Like, it would have been fine.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But Streets of Rage 2 comes out. It's like, oh, wow, I love Streets of Rage 2. And I just didn't know that I was going to love it because I didn't have much of an affinity for Streets of Rage 1. But Still, I don't know. We're leaving it up there for consideration. Maybe there's a last minute swap we can throw in there, and we'll save Streets of Rage Tuesday. But the importance factor is probably where it's going to be left out.
So here's okay. The poll is already going pretty heavily in Mass Effect 2's favor, 64% about 36. So I think I will concede Mass Effect 2 over Mega Man 2.
Okay. Yeah, go shoot. I have one that I think maybe you might mention, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
I wonder if it's literally this one I'm about to say because it's kind of similar to Mass Effect 2, Uncharted 2.
Oh, okay. See, this is a bloodbath.
This is a bloodbath because this is almost a bit more in that Mega Man style of somehow pretty much what they were doing in that first game.
Yeah.
Just much better. Like, Uncharted 1 came out and people were like, oh yeah, that's, neat. There's some interesting things here. Then Uncharted 2 was the game of the year. And that was when, this is the format that every console exclusive, like from PlayStation and other people is going to copy going forward now.
Yeah. What do you take off the list? I don't know. It's so hard.
Mass Effect off, but I don't. I know it's hard. It's a bloodbath. It's a bloodbath.
Yeah,
can we take Mail off just because it doesn't have a 2?
Yeah,
is that what we're gonna do?
Oh my God, Cal Martin just said Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, which boy, here's what helps there is 3 and 4 keep building on it. So
right, exactly. It feels like the journey's not done.
Exactly.
I could say that a little bit with Mega Man, really, because I do like 3 even more than 2.
Whereas
but we haven't Uncharted.
Yeah, go ahead. Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 3, not as good as 2.
Yes.
Streets of Rage 3, not as good as 2. Those kind of feel like peaks in a way.
But what do we do about Diablo 2?
Yeah, that's one too. That's another one. Again, basically just the first game on steroids, significantly better in every way. It is super duper good. Diablo 2 definitely like one. Yeah, that's like one of the best PC games ever. I like even that remake kind of made that clear. So yeah, that is hard. That is difficult.
I want to throw one out so we can immediately get rid of it, even though I love it. Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers USA.
I love it too.
Maybe we could say the Japanese Super Mario Brothers 2 was the real number 2, but no, not really.
How about no?
Super Mario Brothers 2 is very good. I love it, but we don't have to put it up there. It actually doesn't rank with these other games.
No,
Psychonauts 2, I think is great, but it's kind of a continuation of what they did with the first one. Better in a lot of ways, better in almost every way. Doesn't need to be up here.
Psychonauts 2 is great. Doesn't feel like it's an important game. Maybe it should be an important game, but it's not.
Assassin's Creed 2, I really think it came into its own, obviously, but it might be the journey's not completed there because I like Brotherhood even more. So I'm okay with that not getting up there. Yeah. So yes, Chris says Super Mario World too. Yeah,
fuck you.
Again, Super Mario Galaxy, everyone's like throwing them out now. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, Galaxy, even if like we weren't concerned about the direct sequel, I mean that's obviously a direct sequel, I guess, but still, it is so much that first game. Maybe slightly better, but you're already starting at a very strong place there.
Let's see if people had anything more to say about the ones we've already said, or some we might have discarded already, and then we'll try to finalize this and maybe make some tough choices. Epic open world, the easiest answer, Mass Effect 2. The emotional moments for me are hard to top, and the suicide mission is such an intense ride. Mike, what's the last time you played Mass Effect 2?
It actually hasn't been since the original. I didn't get to play it again. I'm kind of being like won over. There is a lot of love here for Mass Effect 2.
There's a lot of love for Mass Effect 2.
Brother AJ would kill me if I took it off here, so that's concerning. It clearly seems to resonate with a lot of people, so it probably makes sense as an answer.
Let's see. F-Wit Ray Day said Devil May Cry 2 should be discussed as it's an example of how not to do a sequel.
It's the opposite. That's one of the all-time I can't believe how much they fucked that up.
Minnesota Goldie back with Uncharted 2, the game that propelled Naughty Dog to become Sony's most important studio. Great improvements on controls, setting, and story. The fact I still sometimes think about those giant set pieces from this 13-year-old game is a testament to how good it is.
That train level was by far the greatest thing I ever saw in a game at that point, and for a long time afterward. Just ridiculously good.
Mass Effect 2, the first games did a great job laying the groundwork, but this game really kicks it into high gear, and changing the gunplay was the better choice. It's also one of the few games where I say the DLC is a must-buy. And then they said about Assassin's Creed 2, a game so good that it spawned its own trilogy. The gameplay improvements from one was so good that you welcomed the yearly releases. We would later regret that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Here's an interesting one from chat from Mattathias. Pokemon Gold.
Yeah, I saw that too, right?
That's not bad. I mean, That is the direct sequel to Pokemon Red and Blue. Let's say Yellow doesn't count. And it is, again, just that first game, but much better. To a point where I could still probably play that original version of Gold and Silver. Whereas if I play Pokemon Red and Blue, it would be like charming. Be like, haha, can you believe it used to be like this?
Mm-hmm. So I think, you know, what we want from a sequel to be on the Mount Rushmore of game sequels. Like, we want one that is like Street Fighter 2, that is, the gap between them is so like chasm, so massive that you have to have I got there eventually. Street Fighter 2 needs to be up there for that reason. But then we have that idea represented. Then it's like, okay, well, it's basically the same game, but significantly, like, they're just figuring out all the things that were wrong with the first one and cleaning it up. Like, I would want that to be up there. Do we have that up there? Is that Super Smash Brothers Melee?
It might be that. It might be. Gosh, Melee does make sense here, and yet somehow it's the one I keep eyeing to get rid. Well, let me ask you. I guess here's my question. Of the ones that aren't on there, that we don't have on there, what is the one that you're like trying to get on there? Let's be honest with me.
I mean, for me, like, my personal would be Streets of Rage 2 probably, but honestly, beyond that, I'm at a point where I think the list up top actually looks pretty good. What's your answer about what you're trying to get up there?
I mean, Mega Man 2 hurts just because I'm a Mega Man fan, but I get it. Uncharted 2 is the one maybe I'm feeling.
Okay. I think I actually could. I would be okay if you were the one that wants to do it. Swap out Super Smash Brothers Melee for Uncharted 2. I will accept it.
I can't believe I have to pick between these things.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that actually, because I couldn't do it, but I think you can.
Right. I might need some help from the audience one more time, Jeff.
Yeah, please. Okay,
you Smash Bros. Melee versus Uncharted 2. I just want to see what the people are thinking. I don't know. I am conflicted as all hell. Those are two of my favorite video games of all time.
All right,
help me. Help me, chat.
Okay.
You're my only help.
Melee.
Hey, while we're doing that, I've seen some other ones that I think are good sequels, like Resident Evil 2. Age of Empires 2 has been brought up a few times. I think like these are all sequels that definitely improved on the original. Maybe just not to like this momentous degree. Fable 2 definitely much better than Fable 1, although still, how good ultimately. Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay, I'm not even. Oh, I have to vote just so I can see which one.
Let's see. Uncharted Wolf went on to say, Mega Man 2, Mike will like this. Mega Man 2 did what a sequel should. Take the formula established in the first game, add new mechanics to spruce up the gameplay, and just be a damn good game. It's also better than 3, Mike. Sorry, not sorry. You're like, Mike's going to like this, and then Mike's not going to like this.
Yeah, actually, I don't like it. This make me feel bad about not fighting for Mega Man 2 more. But hey, someday we'll do a 3s maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Ratchet and Clank 2, Going Commando. That's an interesting one. This one is very personal, so I don't expect it to make it, but Going Commando is a perfect sequel. It took the established nature of the first game, goofy weapons and platforming, and created many new systems that added to the chaos. Let's see here. Jayton says, I think the best sequel I've played is Mafia 2.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a huge improvement over the first one. I think I agree with that, but I also don't love Mafia 2 either.
I've never played them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't like the mob.
Yeah,
I know we made jokes about me and the mob, but like I don't find that.
You're like, that doesn't exist. That's not real. There's no such thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't played the original one yet, so I can't fully judge how that one played, but 2 seems like it. Yeah, the 1's not very good, but 2 seems like it refined a lot, and you can tell it was a 9-year jump from both games.
Kyle Martin has a good one in chat, especially RPG-wise, Divinity Original Sin 2, which is a giant leap in quality and importance from the first one. I guess like my thing there is just ultimately how big a deal is Divinity Original Sin 2. I guess a big deal. Is it as a big a deal as like a Half-Life 2? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it, and it's a really good poll. I think it's worthy of.
It's a good poll. That's one of the best polls I've seen. I gotta be honest.
Exactly, and I'm glad someone mentioned it. But it's probably not going to knock anything off that we're considering. That's already up there, and maybe some of these ones that are on the second list probably not even. But God, honestly, yeah. If you come to me and say, Divinity Original Sin or Original Sin 2, like, yeah, you go to the second one without a doubt. All right, Mike, are we getting? I mean, it's even more of a blowout than the last one.
It is. Man, maybe Xbox Killer is right. Our fans are a bunch of Xbots, and they hate PlayStation. Remember? Yeah. These are the same people who try to convince us that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart wasn't good, Jeff.
Yeah, we can't even say it's like, they're just young, because Melee is older than Uncharted 2.
Yeah,
so.
true, right. But no, I'll concede the point then. I'll concede the point.
I think the audience might be young, and I think Melee just might be that culturally important.
Melee is very, 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 very important. I mean, I'm glad nobody seems to be disputing Half-Life 2 or Street Fighter 2. I saw like a couple people say, I don't know about Mass Effect 2, but I think I've kind of been won over.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this feels like the list. Chris said Killzone 2. That's very good.
Well, okay, I don't really think it should go on there.
I don't know anything about the one you might be talking about. I don't know anything about it. So if you're gonna put it up there, let's
Sonic
see.
the Hedgehog 2?
Oh, I was gonna say Silent Hill 2 because I know people love Silent.
Shit.
Yeah,
I'm surprised, man. Yeah, Silent Hill 2. That is definitely a much more important game than the first one.
I mean, do we like Resident Evil 2? Do we consider that? I think Resident Evil.
I brought it up very briefly, but I feel like sorry, my voice is going for some reason.
That's okay. We're wrapping up soon.
Silent Hill 2 is definitely higher than Silent Hill 1 as compared to Resident Evil 2.
Right, I agree with that, yes.
But Sonic the Hedgehog 2, it is very much just we're making an improved version of the last game, but very much improved. Also, definitely the greatest marketing campaign for a sequel ever. Sonic Tuesday.
Sonic Tuesday,
come on.
Yep.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 does rule. I want it. You know what? You have to write it down.
I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, it must be remembered at least.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 of the games from like the 16-bit generation, other than I guess if you count Street Fighter 2, which is arcades, not quite. It probably had like the best chance of actually getting up there, except for I guess maybe Streets of Rage 2. But honestly, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 would probably go up before even Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah, I mean Street Fighter 2 is it's of that era, so it's repping there pretty well.
Grand Theft Auto 2, not quite.
Grand Theft Auto 2 and Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 are kind of just lumped together as before Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yep, that's right. Dead Space 2. Dead
Space 2 is definitely, I think most people think it's better than 1, sure, but yeah, I just don't know. Baldur's Gate 2. I mean, there's a lot of really good sequels out there, and it's fun. I see some people saying Arkham City. I like both Arkham City and Arkham Asylum as a thing. I guess I like that they're kind of different, but it's not a big improvement necessarily. Like, I guess you could say the same thing like Half-Life, but Half-Life 2 was monumentous.
All right.
Monumentous.
So we have right now in the Mount Rushmore of game sequels, and again, it's direct sequels, so number 2s, Street Fighter 2, Mass Effect 2, Half-Life 2, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. We keep thinking about maybe replacing Mass Effect 2 or Melee, and every time we do, we kind of come back around to be like, they actually probably should be up there. I'll take one last look in the Discord here for input from our podcast producers. Arrest All of Sonic team says top choices, Resident Evil 2. Don't be maddened poisonous radio transmitters and skip this one.
Maddened poisonous radio transmitters. I love it.
Secondary choices, Kirby's Adventure and Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2 is a good one. I really like that poll too.
Yeah, I guess Kirby's Adventure is actually the first direct sequel, not Kirby's Dream Land 2. Kirby's Adventure does in fact rule. And that's interesting, actually, because that's where we get Kirby's copy ability, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of...
It's important to that series. That's
incredibly important.
Yeah, God, I would love to put Kirby's Adventure up there, but probably not. Jedi Moss's Halo 2 launched alongside Xbox Live Service and popularized online multiplayer for consoles. It is an enormously influential sequel that really established the entire online console gaming landscape. Call of Duty Modern Warfare and all the other massive online shooter games today followed a template that first made by Halo 2.
Yeah, I probably dismissed Halo 2 too fast. It certainly deserves consideration, but I still
everything that was just there was true. Yes, Halo Combat Evolved is just so iconic. It's just so big. It looms over even Halo 2, I think. One Up versus CPU says Star Fox 64 still the best Star Fox.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of true-ish, but still, just not quite on this level of some of these big boys we got here.
Did we really decide on Pokemon Gold/Silver?
Decide on it as what? It's not on there. But...
About like getting up on like whether or not it should be up on the list. I feel like we kind of like we're discussing it and then we kind of abandoned it.
I think the problem is that ultimately, like Pokemon Red and Blue still feels more important, even though Gold and Silver is better. Red and Blue is more important.
Finally, Don Otaku. A lot of people won't say this, but Def Jam Fight for New York was a massive quality jump from the first game with a much improved story and combat, character creator with amazing customizations, RPG elements, different fighting styles, an amazing and huge roster, 4-player multiplayer. It does more as a sequel than a lot of sequels out there. I love Def Jam Fight for New York, one of my favorite GameCube games. But it's not going to get up on the list. It's just not going to. But good call.
We have some super chats about this.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do we have any super chats that we can hit up for any input on this?
Uncharted Wolf says, every game must decide there's always that odd one in the Rushmore. I love Mass Effect 2, but its iconic status is nowhere near Mega Man 2 or Uncharted 2 or Metal Gear Solid 2. Like, that was my instinct, but a lot of people think otherwise, and like I can't dispute that. So I kind of have to look to you, Jeff, on this.
I agree with the argument about Mega Man. The lineage there, the journey's not done, so we get to 3. So not Mega Man 2. I think if it Uncharted 2, I think Uncharted 2 and Mass Effect 2 are pretty similar, and I think Mass Effect 2's legacy is even larger at this point than Uncharted 2's. And then I guess maybe I could see Pokemon Gold/Silver, but I would almost rather Pokemon Gold/Silver replace Melee, but that wasn't the suggestion there.
I'm surprised how much Metal Gear Solid 2 support there is. Daniel Bradley said Metal Gear Solid 2 over Mass Effect any day. That surprised me a little bit. Mass Effect 2 is getting something of a glow up, Jeff, just because, I mean, I shouldn't discount it. It happened to be right. So, like, kudos, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
That'll help you out a lot.
Yep. That does help, yes. I just don't know what we would replace. And I guess, let me make sure Metal Gear Solid 2 is on the list.
Yeah. Radu Paracotagana says 2 human, 2 worlds, army of 2, beyond 2 souls there. Not quite exactly what we meant, Radu, but good work there, buddy.
Yes, I like that a lot. Oh, well, let me get this out of us.
Ariel Delgado says, can you feel like moving through your mind? Ooh, looks like it came back for more. Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2. I think I like Sonic Adventure 1 more than 2. I'll just say it.
You said it, everybody.
Like Sonic Adventure, those levels where you have to play as Tails and Robotnik and their mech things, and like those levels they feel like they are 20 times longer than any Sonic level. That's most of the game, is walking around in a slow robot, auto-locking into enemies, and just kind of breezing through because there's no
the Sonic team not understanding what makes Sonic fun, that's really strange.
Yeah, weird.
That poll was Melee 73%, Uncharted 2 26%.
Damn, sorry, Uncharted. I've noticed there's been a little bit of a, not backlash, but a cooling off on Uncharted and Uncharted 2 recently.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about Uncharted 4, and I was just like, man, this is a kind of an unassailable franchise. And then right after that, I started like kind of like taking the temperature a little bit and be like, oh, I guess people have sort of like, I think it was, I was listening to Greg Miller's PlayStation podcast, and they were like, well, Uncharted's not that big of a deal anymore. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? This is a PlayStation podcast. What are you talking about? But I don't know. I guess that audience has been kind of trained like, well, it's not important. Like The Last of Us, that's fucking piece of art.
You put it like that. When you put it like that, Jeff, now I'm mad.
Yeah, I'm listening. Maybe I'm mad. Even on your behalf a little bit here.
Uncharted's so good.
Yeah. Is this our list?
Well, I got a few more super chats here.
Oh, great, cool.
Daniel Bradley says Mass Effect 2 is worse than the original, watered down for the masses, and the third destroyed its legacy. There are some people with that opinion that like actually Mass Effect 2 is a retrograde.
Yes, they're definitely people are definitely like that. I'll hear you out. I think I disagree.
I think I disagree. I get it. I think especially when I was especially the Mass Effect Legacy edition of Mass Effect 1, that is really good.
Yeah.
We're talking about that original. I don't know. Erodimus says Grand Theft Auto 2 gets no love on this list. Nope, it doesn't. Sorry.
Right.
And I think that is it with super chats relating to that. We have some other super chats, Jeff. But
okay, well, I mean, listen, I feel pretty good about this list. Actually, we're gonna put this one out. I think there will be some anger just because there are so many great sequels, and like we said, it was gonna be a bloodbath. But if these are the ones left standing, I don't know. To me, it just looks right.
It certainly seems like Mass Effect 2 is the most controversial one there, but whatever we would slot in for it, I think would also be controversial.
Yes.
I think if we've said Uncharted 2, Mega Man 2, I bet wouldn't be controversial.
Expandable share, Super Metroid's the third game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone else is safe. Don't worry.
Yes. Nice,
right,
man. I wish it was number 2. That could easily go up there. Is there anything else we're missing from from Super Nintendo?
No,
or Genesis?
A lot of those were 3s. Actually,
yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah, or 4s or what have you. No,
Zelda 2 is just not going to get up there, although it's a fine game.
I like Zelda 2.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of really good sequels out there, and it's fun to talk about them. And yeah, some of these could be slotted in. Beef Hammer. We forgot about Knack 2.
Knack 2.
Beef Hammer. We forgot about.
Just replace the whole list with Knack 2.
Oh my god.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up. If people want to keep suggesting stuff in chat, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But this is our list now. Mount Rushmore of game sequels: Street Fighter 2, Mass Effect 2, Half-Life 2, Super Smash Brothers Melee. I forget who was in the super chat, so there's always an odd one out. And there's an odd one out on Mount Rushmore to Teddy Roosevelt.
Is it a problem we have 2 fighting games? Does that matter?
I don't think so, because if it was like Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat 2, yes, this is Street Fighter 2 and Super Smash Brothers Melee. They exist sort of their own orbits, I think.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, looking at all those games below this too, gosh, those are all very, very good games.
Shut up, Sean.
Sean is very upset about Mass Effect. The one Sean wants is this Halo 2, which I'm barely even considering. So,
Hey, watch, I'll just delete it from this list, and now we'll really make him mad.
There's a lot of them that are going to get
I'll make him mad too at the same time, make you mad too. There we go.
Oh, damn it. Well, I'm on your side.
I know. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just lashing out. I'm lashing out.
This to me?
All right, let's get back over here and go to this one. And
it was interesting just how Street Fighter 2, nobody can dispute that.
Oh,
Were
no,
you guys
that was
alive during Halo 2. Oh, my gosh.
undoubtedly the best. It's the best sequel in maybe media. There's no movie that is like matches like the quality upgrade you get from Street Fighter 1 to Street Fighter 2. No second album. It's the greatest sequel.
Shrek
period.
2 is pretty good. Although Shrek 1 is
up there. Yeah.
But Shrek 2 is amazing. That was fun.
Right. Yeah, that was a good time. So we also have the Hall of Fame. And you know what? Actually, I can bring that back up real quick. So we'll scroll to the top here. But we're not going to be determining the Hall of Fame today. But me and Mike did make some nominees. And the way this works for people who are just listening to this episode is me and Mike each pick 2 games. And then podcast producers and people who are Twitch subscribers to my account and to people who hit the join button here on YouTube, you could go into the podcast producers, find the thread. There's usually will be a link you can ask around. And you can vote on which of these 4 games is worthy of the Decides Hall of Fame. This week, we nominated Metal Gear Solid, Yoshi's Island, Final Fight, and Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2, how about that? Do we want to... Maybe we should give our kind of pitch for each one now while people think about voting.
Well, do we want to reveal who picked which one? Is what I was kind of thinking we keep it anonymous so that it doesn't sway people.
Because people like to vote against me.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to protect you a little bit.
Tommy hates. Look.
I think what we do is we do it anonymously this way.
Yeah.
These are our 4 nominees. You don't know who picked which one, but once they go through, we do give our pitch even afterward for each one. So when we bring these back around, the ones that didn't make it, we can kind of give them another chance. Now they had the benefit of getting a little bit of a push from the last time. So I think that works fine. And it's
I think that sounds right.
All anonymous voting. You only get 1 choice. So
what's in our Hall of Fame already? What were our first 2 picks there?
It's a very good question. I'm pretty sure was it Super Mario Brothers and Super Metroid?
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I wrote these. I have these written down somewhere. I'll find that and keep track of that. But yeah, Super Mario Brothers, Super Metroid, and we will keep checking back on this for the next couple of weeks. And then as we start to fill it out, we'll probably come back and do this about once a month in the future. All right, Mike, what have you been playing?
Well, I think I said I was looking for something to kind of play on the Steam Deck. I realized I've been complaining a bit about how I have some RPG burnout on Switch. I also have some Switch burnout. Not just because I have the Steam Deck and I just haven't been able to play it, because there were a surprisingly large amount of Switch games that I felt obligated to play.
Yeah.
And still do, right? With Bayonetta and Pokemon still a thing. And part of me is like, I have this really cool, expensive thing I bought. I want to play something on it. I don't care if it's not a new game. Everyone can get mad at me. But I was just trying to look on the sale. What's something that's really on sale and really cool? And I saw Ace Combat 7 is on sale for 80% off. It was normally a $60 game. It's a $10 game, less than that right now. I was like, people like this game. I've barely ever touched this series. This seems like it would be fun. And it is. That is a cool Steam Deck game, Jeff. It's just, it's something that works really well with that controller setup. You're flying around. It runs really well on the Steam Deck. I've had a couple audio hiccups and some pauses. I think that might have been just because of something downloading in the background, even because most people say this game runs pretty flawlessly on there.
I'll get some audio hiccups with the Steam Deck when I put it in sleep mode and bring it back sometimes.
I think that's what it was. I had it on sleep mode for a long time too, by accident when I was doing all those Switch games. So
it's fun to see how like some games deal with that, where they're like, you haven't saved in 2 minutes, and I put it in sleep mode for a couple days, and I come back to it, and I pick it back up, and it's like, you haven't saved in 700 hours or something like that. What the hell? Or it'll be like, oh, we're counting for how long you've played this game. It's like, you've played this game for 45 hours. I'm like, I just started it, but then like really quickly it like adjusts itself and says, no, you've only played for a couple minutes. I'm like, oh wow, it's neat that it knows how to do that. But that obviously that sleep mode is something most PC games aren't accounting for. Even though obviously you can put any PC to sleep. Just what maniac would put a PC to sleep while a video game was running? That's a crazy thing to do.
I am kind of in the mindset of like, I actually on Steam Deck would rather just close my games as if I was playing on PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably safe for now until more developers get used to taking advantage of that. But still, I can't help it. That's the way I gotta play those games. So, yeah. But you're liking it, you said.
Yeah, I mean, I just did the first mission. I'm just flying around shooting things, but it's really slick. It's like simple in a nice way. And hey, I am still somebody who's thinking about how much I liked Top Gun Maverick, and this is very much tapping into that energy and that vibe for me.
That's Ace Combat 7, right?
It's Ace Combat 7, a series I somehow never played much of, and just totally seems like what I am into right now as the antithesis of a Japanese role-playing game.
Yeah, that's fair. You gotta clean that palette every once in a while for sure. I've been playing Atari 50 on the Steam Deck, and it's really great. I talked about it a lot on yesterday, so I won't go into it too much. And I haven't had much time to play anything else since that episode, but I'll recommend it here. Atari 50 is incredible. People should check it out. I did play more of it. I started getting into more of the home arcade section and just going through that history and then clicking over to some games here and there. Been really good. I did look. I don't think it has Adventure. I think Adventure was an Activision game, right? Is that right?
I mean, look, I'm not that upset about it.
Sure, yeah, right, yeah. But yeah, it's just so well made, and every video I get so excited to watch. There's no stinkers in there, and if anything, I wish there were more of those video interviews. There's a lot of them, and I wish there was more. So they did a really good job, and it's worth it even if you aren't into Atari. I think that's kind of been a common question.
I wonder, are we gonna get something really cool when the NES turns 50 or something?
Yeah,
just Mario turns 50.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so. We deserve it.
Donkey Kong.
After all these years, all this money we've given them, come on, give us something back, and not just another thing that we can buy. Give us a chance to really relish in this history. I would really appreciate that, but we'll see. And then let's see. I've been playing a few other things, but honestly, at this point, I think it's all stuff I talked about on Tuesday. So we could probably just begin wrapping things up. I don't know.
We got some more super chats we still have to talk about.
Okay, well, let's get to those super chats. But before we do, I just want to ask you real quick: do you have gaming plans for this weekend?
No, not really. I mean, there's things I need to beat Guardians of the Galaxy is what I need to do because I'm gonna be gone the very end of the week. The discussion for that is happening a little bit later for the Game Club since we have to wait till I come back.
Right.
I'm gonna nail that time. I'm thinking it's probably going to actually be on December 6th, everybody. And we will start voting for the next game. We can even maybe put that up tomorrow or Friday. I'll put that list together. So if you're in the Game Club, just keep an eye out on that channel on the Discord. Stuff will be getting announced there very soon.
All right. Let's hit those super chats.
Alrighty then. From Radu Pericol Tagana says, been a while since I caught MS live. Mike's greater than Tam? ? Hey, he said Mike, not Mitch. I like it. It's good. It's a good boy. Big Jimbo Ryan says, you're damn right I'm looking. Hi there, Jeff. Not getting a PlayStation VR 2 invite because he's on my naughty list, Grub, and Mike on a different naughty list. Jim, come on, shut up. Hush.
Very, very
Ryan
sensual.
Also says, Dre got snubbed, in my opinion. That cat is an athlete. For best performance. I can't remember what we snubbed him for now. Stray got nominated for Game of the Year. What's the opposite of a snub? What's the opposite of
a dub? I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah.
Alex PSX says, everyone that touches Sonic goes to jail. Sonic is evil. That has so many different ways to interpret that. Kyle Martin says, "Happy Turkey Day Eve. I just got my Steam Deck. Any recommendations on good emu deck tutorials? Any recommendations on sleeper oldie games? Have a good log weekend, beefers."
Yeah, get that retro game core. It's a YouTuber core, as in military core, CORPS. His latest video on it is the most recent version, or the recent big update to EMU Deck. Just go ahead, follow that. Honestly, you can go get to the desktop mode of your Steam Deck, download EMU Deck there, click the button, and follow the instructions. You're going to be mostly fine. You will run into some headaches with the BIOSes, things like that. But you just poke around. You find some friends who know what they're talking about. Ask them. You go look for some archives somewhere. You'll find what you need to find. You'll be all right.
We got last one here is from Daniel. No, we have two more. Big Jumbo Ryan says, "Sonic's not evil, just misunderstood. Also, I wonder how many PlayStation reveals we'll have at Game Awards, almost like we had an event planned. I don't know. Seems sus dabs." I don't even know.
You got a
I don't
dab.
even know.
Oh my
You
God.
got into the closed one.
Oh my God, he's embarrassing me.
And then Daniel Bradley, back when I think we were telling people don't be angry, said, "I'm always angry." So,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
It's okay to be a little angry. And just shout outs to Big Jimbo Ryan for all the support this week.
Oh, Roddy says put Rayman 2 in the list. I wouldn't. You know what? There's like if like a list of 20, I could get Rayman 2 on there.
Yeah.
Rayman 2 is good and better than the first one. That's for sure.
Yeah, this was the toughest one yet. Even though I also think we finalized the list pretty early on, it was still tough to like kick a lot of those games off.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Mount Rushmores are fun because you don't have to think about it too much. You just like, does it feel like it should be up there? And there's a lot that feel like they should be up there.
Yeah, it's a good format, especially for this podcast. Maybe even works better than the tier list. I don't know. I'd be okay just doing some Mount Rushmores.
Right? Yeah. Well, if we come up with a really good thing that needs to be a tier list, we'll go back to the tier list format here and there. But Mount Rushmores most of the time. I'm also open to anyone who wants to submit like an easy, quick quiz, things like that. If you want to try to stump me or Mike or me and Mike collectively, like try to see if you can outsmart us both. I would love that sort of stuff. But again, we'll figure it out. We've been putting the show together. We're having a good time doing it. And so far, I've really been appreciating a lot of the recommendations we've been seeing in the topic suggestion thing and for the podcast producers. Going to go back to a lot of these ideas, everybody. So keep them coming. If you want to like re-up your idea or refresh it, move it around, feel free to do that. But yeah, thank you so far.
Whose idea was this one again? I'm going to find out.
Yeah, let's make sure we call them out. Thank you for doing that. In the meantime, let's see. That sounds right. I think it was Jayton. All right, so thank you everybody for listening this week. We're going to be back next week with like a regular schedule. We'll have a Last of the Nintendogs on Tuesday night. We'll have a Game Mess Decides on Thursday night. Really appreciate everyone tuning in for this early episode. And if you're listening on podcast feeds later, I hope you're having a good Thanksgiving. If you're listening to us on Black Friday, have fun, find some deals, be careful, all that stuff. Mike, you ready to wrap it up? Or was it Jayton?
Yes, it was Jayton.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Thank you, Jayton. Good idea.
All right, let's hit this. Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, Twitter, Twitch, whatever else is popping up. Tokoto, everywhere, baby.
And I'm with Jeff Grubb on Twitch. I'll probably be streaming sometime this weekend. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to go too much longer without streaming on Twitch. It's been like a week or two, and I've been meaning to get back on there so often, but these kids keep getting sick nonstop, just nonstop. But we'll see. I'm really excited for Thanksgiving tomorrow, though. Gonna play some Donkey Kong Country and make it turkey.
There you go.
Do it, everybody.
You won't.
Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Wow.